What's up, everybody? It's the Bipolar Prophet, and welcome back to Old Ridge Farm and Farming Simulator 15. So we're seeding, or planting in this case. We're planting potatoes. I had to go through. I said I was going to put up a sort of a visual picture of my crop rotation, and I forgot. But I realized too that it's funny. I was laying in bed last night, and I was, as I often do, was thinking about farm sim and games and Old Ridge and all that sort of stuff. And I realized that my crop rotation was incorrect on a couple of fields. I was going to plant potatoes over on, sugar beets over on field 11, north and south. That was my part of my original rotation. And I realized that if I did that, that I would be violating my rule about not planting sugar beets or potatoes in the same field, but once every 5 or 6 years, because I'd planted sugar beets, potatoes on that field last year. So I had to rework it. So we're over here. So the class is over here. Phil in the class with the potato planter and the front packer on field 10 planting potatoes. And Perry is over on field, if we tab around, over on field 11 north planting soybeans, because we got to get the soybeans in the ground, because I do have a delivery date to Soya UK to get those delivered. So I picked up the front packers. These are the front packers from the official mod site, from the mod hub. They don't have particle animations, but I like them. I like the way they look and everything, so I think I'll use them. Again, do you really need a front packer? No, the game doesn't care. You know what I mean? The field's already cultivated. These are the OEB seeders, so they'll cultivate the weeds that grow up in the field between the time you do the groundwork and the time you actually start planting. But I don't know. I think it adds a little bit of realism. It definitely adds a little bit of lag, though. I'm definitely lagging a little bit more with those things, but okay, So this is what's going to be happening, and also because these two have to be planting, so I need to move some manure. I have so much manure all of a sudden. I really need to look at getting some sort of auxiliary storage, whether it's a tank, whether it's I have a tanker that I picked up really cheap to haul manure, from field to field to field, liquid manure, obviously. But I may need something a little bigger to store it, more permanently, because I'm just making so much now, and I'm not going through it as fast. Obviously, once we cut all the meadows and stuff, probably in a week or so, we'll do a first cut on the meadows. We'll use a bunch afterwards, but for right now, I'm generating a lot of it and don't have, I'm going to run out of places to put it. So these two guys are going along just fine. We will kind of tab around here. As you can see, I've got the Case and the Marshall over here, ready to go, and I have the JCB with the bucket on it ready to go, so we'll jump in that. This manure pit here isn't quite full yet, but it's close. So I figure, let's go ahead and move it, get that out of the way. So yeah, I don't know why the game's so stuttery today. Again, I never know. I've run through so many optimization programs and everything. I use a lot of stuff to sort of optimize my performance, because I am on a laptop, as you guys know, and it's not. There's only so much RAM. I'm recording on the same hard drive that I'm playing the game on and everything. So I've done a lot of research, done a lot of optimization and stuff to try to get the minimum amount of stuff that I absolutely need to have running at the same time. When I record Farm Sim, I have, now that Raptor is really kind of screwed up the way they do things, I've got Raptor running, and then the Plays TV thing, which actually does the recording, running. Oh, these sides, though. I forgot to go in and take them off. So, a lot of stuff running in the background, and unfortunately, some days, not every day, but some days it causes a lot of lag, so I apologize for that. I am looking at getting an external hard drive, hopefully this week at some point. I buy most of my electronics at Walmart, because, that's where all the pros buy theirs from. Joke. But I don't really have much choice. There's not a lot of electronic stores around me, and I kind of need one. I don't really want to wait to buy one online and wait for it to ship and everything. And I found one on Walmart. It's a Western Digital, 5400 RPM, which is pretty quick for an external, I guess. I'm sure one of you guys could let me know whether that, that's shit or not. But it's pretty much the best one I can possibly afford at the moment. So we're going to go with that, and we're going to see how that works. Plug it into USB 3 port, and see how it goes, I guess. Hopefully that may improve the video quality a little bit, although, of course, then I'll be using, more RAM and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I have plenty of RAM in this thing. This thing's got 8 gigs of RAM. It's not RAM light by any means. But, ultimately, it is a laptop. Ultimately, this thing has recorded and rendered, almost 600 videos. So I have not been gentle on this, to say the least. So, but, okay, anyway, back to Farm Sim. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I did all that complaining, you know, for so long, you know, on this farm that I didn't have any manure. I never had enough. I had to go, you know, I was buying it from Mike. I was, you know, getting it from places. Now I have so much that I have to move it, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do with it all? Obviously, after this year, because we won't be planting alfalfa anymore, so we'll need to do all the, you know, we'll need to do all the sort of, what are these signs? If I sound a little grumpy today, guys, I am. I am a little grumpy. I've had kind of a bad morning, you know, and maybe it wasn't the best time to record, you know, because sometimes when I have a bad day, it doesn't take much to set me off, and the sides on this thing are just annoying the crap out of me. But oh well. But what was I saying? Now see, I forgot what I was saying. I was going on about something, and I forgot. Go figure. Oh, yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, we're going to do some fall tillage. I'm not going to plant alfalfa. So probably what's going to happen is on the fields that I don't put winter barley in, you know, for a spring harvest, I will just leave the stubble on them. And then a couple of fields, the potato field, you know, in particular, and the sugar beet fields will need to be manured and plowed because, you know, obviously you got to get the nutrients back in the ground because, you know, sugar beets and potatoes are pretty rough on the ground, and, you know, the big equipment you need to use to harvest them, you know, puts a beating on the ground, so those are going to need to be manured and plowed. So we will use the manure, obviously, and then come spring, you know, spring tillage again, I'll use it because I won't have the super high N levels anymore from all the green manure. I just don't want to plant alfalfa anymore. It's too laggy. It's you know, even if maybe by the time, although I doubt it, I was going to say maybe by the time we're actually ready, you know, for fall here in Old Ridge, quote unquote, I'll be, you know, I'll be looking at a new computer. Probably not. Obviously, the days aren't, you know, farm sim days are not as long as real life days, so it probably won't be just then, but it will be soon. I can tell you that. I have looked at, you know, I don't know, 100 different computers, 100 different ways of getting one, and you know, it all comes down to what I can afford and how I can afford to do it. You know, obviously I'm, you know, real world, I have bills and stuff I have to pay, and, you know, I have to eat, and the dog has to eat, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But I think I can afford to maybe lease one. So we're going to try that. Oh, that's full. Very good. And we'll see, you know, hopefully by summer maybe I'll have it. And then maybe we can move up into the big boy YouTuber, you know, status. Not that I care about that. It's funny, we were talking about that in the last multiplayer. Today is Monday. You guys will see this on Wednesday. No, I'm sorry. Today's Tuesday. You guys will see this on Thursday. I'm all discombobulated here. Nothing seems to want to work today for some reason. Yeah, you guys will see this on Thursday. And we will, obviously, you will have seen the multiplayer before that. And we were talking about, you know, YouTube and all that. And sort of before we got into it, before we actually started recording, we were having a pretty good conversation about, you know, why we do YouTube and you know, the benefits of it and everything. You know, and I've said this 100 times. The only reason I do YouTube is so that, you know, I can share my love of simulation games with you guys, you know, and interact with you guys and be your friends and everything. You know, that's all that matters to me. So, can we get a... Oh, this thing is full. I don't know. Again, I don't know how much they hold, but it is a massive pile of manure. But yeah, you know, so I'm not worried about, you know, getting to the point where, you know, I'm recording at 60 FPS and, you know, and I can put up 4K videos and I'm, you know, I've got a million subscribers. I don't care about that. I really, really don't. You know, maybe that sounds overly humble or, you know, or whatever, fake modesty, but it's really not. It's really just about me wanting to have fun and playing games and recording them, you know, and hanging out with you guys. That's all it is for me. So, let's get turned around, VP. Now, I would bet, I was just thinking about this, one of these guys is going to run out of seed. I don't think Perry will run out of seeds. Probably Phil over on the potato on the potato planter will run out of seeds before Phil does. So, okay. We'll just have to keep an eye on that, I guess. Now, I didn't reserve any potatoes last time, so the last harvest, so I'm kind of having to cheat it a little bit, you know, and just go fill it up at the seed pallet, but that's all right, too, you know. I'll try to remember to reserve some this time around. All right, sides, you going to mess with me? No, just going to go in there. Very good. You know, again, this is not something I had to do because it wasn't full, but I figured while I don't really have much else to do at the moment, you know, these two are off seeding, which needs to be done. So I figured why not do this and get it over with, you know. I seem to be spending a lot of time in this telehandler lately, which is fine with me. You know, I really like this. This is a great model. You know, it's a great piece of equipment. I really enjoy it. So, another thing I have coming should be here on Friday, actually, is a new flight stick. You guys may have heard me mention this before. I had a HOTAS, a Thrustmaster HOTAS Warthog flight stick. And because, you know, I do a little bit of flying, not as much as I used to. I used to do a lot more. But with this rig, you know, I have a lot of payware aircraft, and you know, and it takes up a lot of computer resources, those payware aircraft and stuff. And this computer is just not really good at running them most of the time, so I don't do as much flying as I used to. But what ended up happening was my flight stick actually broke. I forget what I was doing with it. I might have been flying a helicopter or whatever, and I think I tried to do some kind of fancy maneuver or whatever. And you know, and I banked it way over, and I heard a snap, you know, and then it just suddenly stopped working. So I took it apart. Turns out there's you know, there's a plastic ring that sets on a metal base that sort of acts as a bearing for the stick, you know, and that had cracked, and it made the base not the connections for the stick to translate it, you know, into electrical signals, so that the computer can then translate those into movement on the screen. It wasn't making contact anymore, and I couldn't fix it. It was very tiny, and you know, there was no way to fix it. I tried, you know, super gluing it. I tried epoxying it, but you know, obviously I'm not an electrician, you know, or a electronics technician, so there was no way to fix it. So I ended up getting another one. I didn't get another Warthog because they're a little too expensive for me now. I ended up getting a HOTAS X, which is still a good stick, you know. Cool thing, it's got a detachable throttle and everything. But what I'm really looking forward to is using it for front loader work for farm sim. It's funny, you know, I went out and bought a flight stick for farm sim, but that's what I'm really looking forward to it for, so I don't have to get this jerky motion with my mouse anymore. That's really the goal. Every so often I do these jobs, you know, and again, this is another job I don't mind doing because it's, you know, it's something you would do in real life, obviously. But there's times when I wish I had one of those 100,000 liter buckets, you know. But then I'd be like, okay, well now what do I do? Because I really don't have too much else to do. I only have the one grain seeder, only have the one potato planter, so, and only going to put potatoes in one field anyway. And I'm obviously going to stagger the way I plant everything so everything doesn't come up at once, so I don't have a withering issue, because I certainly can't have that. Cannot let entire crops wither. So everything's going to go in staggered, you know, so it comes up, you know, not weeks after it's, you know, like one thing won't come up a week after the next thing, but, you know, a couple of days just to give me time to get it all harvested and everything. Yeah, these stutters are annoying me. You know, again, it's funny because when I first started playing on this computer and I first started recording on it, I didn't really notice it, you know, but I as you guys are probably aware, and I'm sure you guys do it too, I watch a lot of video. You know, I'm not always just playing games. I watch a lot of video. I like to see what other people are doing. You know, I have my favorite YouTubers like everybody does. And, you know, and I guess because I've watched so much video and I see the quality that other people are doing, and I'm just like, oh, you know, why is my stuff so bad? But again, there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm just not going to worry about it. You know, I'm not going to let it drive me crazy and say, oh, I'm not making videos anymore, you know. It's not so bad that I can't play the game. It's not so bad that hopefully you guys won't be able to watch the video, you know. I also want to mention the sound issue I was having the last time. You know, Tony Lurie and Stuart Bates brought it up, and you're absolutely right. It was a setting issue, as you guys are probably aware. You know, I have to switch between several different recording softwares now to be able to record all the games that I play. You know, so, and unfortunately, when you start using different softwares and stuff, it changes. Sometimes it'll change settings in your, you know, like your sound panel, you know, and that's what happened. So that's why I sounded like I was screaming at the top of my lungs the whole video, and I apologize for that. Hopefully, I will have fixed that this time. So, all right, you stop there, jump out. I had a whole bunch left in this pile. It was only 56,000 liters, I think. I think it fills up at, I don't know, 80 or something like that. But enough to make me want to move it. Plus, it, you know, again, another one of those things that needed to be done. So, I'm not getting any messages popping up on the screen, so these guys must be doing okay. One thing about those front packers, though, is that you, it's got a weird work width. It's 3.1 meters, you know. So if you're using a 3.0 you know, a 3 meter implement on the back. It runs over what you've just planted, but it's not awful, you know. It's not, I'm not wasting rows of seed. So, I mean, I am wasting seed, you know, and I could go in and adjust the work width, I guess, to make it match. But to be honest, I'm not all that fussed about it. So, how far do those sides go up? Oh, those are so coming out. The second I'm done with this recording, those sides are coming out. I mean, it's cool and it's awesome that they're there, you know, and it gives you more functionality in one trailer, but I'm not going to use it for anything but manure, so. You know, because even during a corn shop, I mean, only, you know, I can only have so many guys carting, so. Although, you know, I just realized I may have to use this for silage come that time, you know. I'll drive the harvester, let Perry and Phil cart for me, you know. So I guess I probably ought to keep those sides on, because I just remembered I don't have the Dazur anymore. So I'm down to one tipper. So only have the Stewart, you know, because I've never needed more than one tipper, more than one grain tipper, you know. Yep. Looks like Phil has run out. I mean, I don't understand how high those sides are. That if I put this bucket down the tiniest bit, I hit him. Okay, so how are we going to do this? Do we, yep, you're empty. Very good. You're not too far from done either. Well, you are a little ways from done. You can see it leaves spots from where the front packer runs over it. But you know what? Okay, that's all right. You know, I'll just call that places where it didn't grow, where the potatoes didn't grow. First thing I need to do, though, is stop you, because otherwise, you will take off the minute I put a potato in you. Oh, you're going to need to be refilled, too. Darn it. Darn it. See, now with the, see how it's running over what it already did here, but that's because of the turn that he made, you know, at the end of the row. So, you know, again, I'm double planting, I'm wasting seeds. But I don't know, I like the front packer in the front. I think it's a neat combination. So, you know, yeah, it doesn't have particle animations, but it does get dirty and it looks pretty cool. So he's probably going to need to be refilled too before he gets done with this field. I don't have an available piece of equipment here, do I? I'm going to have to drop this, jump into this. No. Why is my... Jeez. I'm starting to wonder if I'm having an issue with drive control, because drive control seems to have been acting up a little bit lately with, you know, key bindings and stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. You know, again, I got a lot of mods in the mod folder, and I got a lot of stuff that needs to come out of the mod folder because I don't use it. You know, I download stuff and then check it out, look at it, and go, it's okay, or you know, it's cool, but it doesn't fit, you know, Old Ridge, or it doesn't fit, you know, any of the maps I'm doing or whatever. And then it goes away, you know. And then I forget about it, and it sits in the mod folder. So I need to go through the mod folder and get rid of a bunch of stuff that I'm not using anymore. Because I just know if I looked at my log, which you should always do, I must have pages of errors there. You know what I mean? But, okay, you know, can't do it right this second, so we'll just deal with it. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to run back here, grab that little seed tipper, which I was going to sell, and I'm glad I didn't. Because I'm going to need it. I don't want to drive, you know, I don't want Phil here to come all the way back to the farm to refill and then go all the way back again. So I could have set up seed refill courses, but where the seed pallet is in this is a little awkward, and I don't know that Courseplay would, you know, do very well with it. So now the only thing I'm kind of concerned about is I don't know how this is going to work, because normally I don't put potatoes in it, so I don't think it's going to matter. I think, you know, seeds are seeds to the game, so we will find out if I can fill this up with potatoes from the seed pallet, or whether I'm going to have to use the Seed Master, which isn't going to matter either way. It's funny, I've never had to actually do this before, so I think the last time I planted potatoes, I did a little more realistically, where I had, you know, a pile of potatoes out there on the field, and, you know, I had a front loader and all that. So where are you going? This game is acting very strangely today. I don't know what's the problem. I don't like it. I don't like it when my favorite game doesn't work right. All right, let's see if we can fill this up. Oh, there's seeds 2 in it already. What do we do here? What do we do? Well, you know what we could do? We could go fill up Perry, top him off, I guess. Well, you know what? Since we're right here, let's go see what this does. I honestly don't know what it does. I've never done this before, so Amazingly enough, huh? 105 episodes on this map, and I've never actually done this particular procedure before. But we're going to find out if seeds 2 turn into potatoes or not. Let's hope. And I'm sure right about now, a whole bunch of you are screaming at the screen going, it doesn't, or it does, or, you know, whatever. And thank you in advance for that. I appreciate it. Okay, let's see. Pipe out. Let's find out what it does. Assuming I can get close enough to it to refill it. Ah, that's a big negative, Batman. No seeds 2 for potatoes. Okay. Very good. So what do we do now? Well, okay. So we do this then. We go and well, first of all, we turn our beacons on. And we go over here. And we refill Perry. I guess we'll get him refilled up. We'll get this emptied out. See if we can put regular seeds in it. I don't know. You know, again, I've never done this before. I don't know what I'm going to do if this doesn't work. I'm going to have to drive Phil back to the farm and get the planter filled back up, I guess, and then set him on his way. I suppose I should have just done that instead of faffing about like this. But, you know, it's again, just because I've had something for a long time doesn't always mean that I've used it or that I know what I'm doing with it. You know what I mean? I've refilled these seeders 100 times with this thing, but only for grain, you know, because potatoes I tend to do, you know, I don't know, more realistically, I guess is the word I'm using, but that may not necessarily be the case. But I've never tried to fill it with, you know, from potatoes before, so. Now, one thing I am a little curious about is I think I hope I put in an extra headland, because that front packer sticks out quite a ways, and you just know that one of these guys is going to get stuck in a tree. So I guess we'll find out. Now, okay, so I'll let you get straightened out, get going down the row there, and then I'll stop you so I can fill you up. Because obviously, again, he's not going to stop while I fill him up. So. Oh, he's leaving huge spaces, huh? I'm going to have to adjust the work width of that thing. All right, jump out of this tractor while it's still moving. Farm Sim, jump into this tractor. Stop, driver. Thank you. Just for a second. Don't yell at me, Perry. You're going to be yelling at me if you run out of seed, so... Let me just get the pipe out. Didn't, and I can't get rid of these seeds either. There's no way for me to get rid of them. I can't just tip them. You know what I mean? I don't think you can make a placeable pile of seeds. I don't know, actually. Again, more stuff I don't know. Oh, I'm gonna have to drive him over to the seed pallet apparently, and get him filled up. Now, can you just go and not do anything dumb? Thank you. It sounds like I have no faith in my guys. Obviously I do, you know, but you never know sometimes. Oh. Yeah, I'm going to have to fix that. I'm going to have to fix that work with. Because you know what it is? It's the multi-terrain angle that when you run over it and it makes the rows a little uneven, you know. So because of the work width, every so often you're going to get the dead spot in the middle. And that's not awful. I mean, it happens in real life too, obviously. You know, you're going to have spots where stuff just doesn't grow as well as other things, but... I can't afford to yield loss. Oh, excuse me. Okay, well, I guess I probably should move him first. And I just had another thought, too. Is it possibly because I didn't have the pipe over the right spot on that other planter? But I don't know. And I'm sure a lot of you are probably yelling at the screen right now going, BP, you missed the trigger spot. I very well may have. You know, but I don't know. I don't want to faff about with this for too long, so. I wonder. Oh, I can't because it's got seeds 2 in it. Oh, it's always something. I'm almost tempted to put a placeable pile down and see. You know what? I think I will. Let's do all the experimenting today. I guess. Let me get out of this for a minute. Let me get a placeable pile here and see if it does seeds too. I doubt that it does, but you never know, right? As soon as I mean, you can see just the amount of placeables I have in this thing, that I'm not really using. So, where are you going to let me put one? Oh, that's not ideal. Right behind me would be ideal. Let's put it right there. Okay, let's see what this does. I'm not confident about this at all. Not at all. But we will try it as soon as my mouse catches up. Oh, well, something's going to happen. Let's find out what that something is. Is not accepted here. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. Okay. All right, very good. I don't know what to do now. Well, yes, I do. Park this over here. Oh, you may see these things too. My ring feeders that Sean Blaylock generously pointed me in the direction of. So I need to get those over to the dairy at some point as well. So, okay. Well, this is all now a massive... Oop, can we not crash into my sugar beet delivery that they so nicely dropped off over here instead of in front of the seed building, which is where I told them to put it, but that's fine, whatever. Okay, well, oh boy, this is the BP just messes about episode today, huh? Shut that off. Get back to the... Yeah, you're going to have to hang out. In fact, we'll shut you off. Turn the brake on. Get back to you. Now, how am I going to do this? This is going to stink. I got to drive all the way back to the farm. And then hope I can get them lined up on the right waypoint. That's always my issue. I always screw that up. Okay. Again, this is one of those things where it'd be nice to be able to say, okay, you're empty, drive here and fill up, right? But then you've got the whole issue of, well, are you actually going to play the game, or is it just, fully you're looking for full automation where you just sit there and watch the game, and the game becomes a movie, I don't know. There are times when it would be nice. Ooh, that just fit in there, huh? Got a call from the insurance company, because they come around once in a while and check stuff out. You know what could be an interesting experiment too? Just to prove that I was right. We'll just back this under this pipe over here and see what happens. I still got a little bit of seeds left in there. The insurance company called me up and said, you're going to have to start closing your gates if you want to keep getting your discount. Yes, I'm sorry, I forget. I mean, why'd you spend all the money on electric gates with, with actuators and remote controls and everything else if you're not actually going to use them? Yeah, see, no potatoes. No potatoes out of seeds too. Okay. All right, so I was right. Very good. And I'm sure you guys are all again screaming at the screen going, oh, there he goes again. Will you stop just messing about? You can see it's about 1 o'clock in the real world. And, I've had a few cups of coffee this morning. I haven't had the best morning, so I'm trying to cheer myself up. And generally, when I'm in a grumpy mood, the best way I found to cheer myself up is to just be goofy as hell. So, you guys get to enjoy that with me, too. Now, do not crash the front packer into the steel beam here. This is a little tricky now with this thing, but okay. Probably what I'll do... Oh, yeah, there he goes. Found a tree. Found a tree. He should be able to work himself out of it, though. Probably what I'll do is I'll get him filled up, hopefully get him back on the right waypoint, and get him started. We'll call this an episode. The next episode we'll obviously still be planting. I'll probably have hopefully discovered some sort of manure, liquid manure storage solution. It's not critical just yet, but it is getting there, so... any chance you're going to fill up from there? No, of course not. Come on. There? No? How? There's no way. Going to have to drop the front packer to get in here. Now I'm stuck. Because it's not like I can just back straight up. You know what I mean? I have to come in at an angle to catch the trigger. So, yeah. Going to have to drop the front packer. Stop screwing around, BP. Just do it. Oh, you know what? Can we... Because it'd be so much easier to drop the front packer, right, than to try to mess with this the whole time. But, we're in here now. in a completely can't see. Oh, this shed though. This little workshop. I mean, it's great, but I need to get in here and clean it out. Okay, can we fill up now? Thank you. Jeez. All that work for potatoes, huh? And that is the sole reason right there why you couldn't just have a thing that says go here and refill, right? Because how would a game ever know? It wouldn't have the logic built into it to know to back up. You know what I mean? To make all those backup moves to get in there. It would get stuck on the wall and stop and start crying. No, like I almost did. uh, this thing holds a lot of potatoes for a small planter, but you know it's good because you're putting a lot in the ground at one time. So, because as you guys are, I'm sure, aware, that's how it works with potatoes. You know. Now, let's have the session of trying to get this out of here. Oh, did I do it? Did I do it? No, I bet you I catch the planter on the wall, right? No? Good job, BP. Good job. All right. Back off to field 10 we go. I'll get him going. We'll check on Perry, see how he's doing. He should be able to finish that field with the seeds he's got now, I would hope. And then we will call it an episode. And in the next episode, we will be continuing to seed these fields. And I'm probably going to have to siphon some of that manure out of that pit and maybe just put it in my transfer tank for now, I guess, just so that I don't have an overflow. God, that's the last thing I need. The environmental disaster that would be. The Crawford Browns would be seriously exploring every orifice of my body if that happened. So that was a little graphic, huh? I'm sorry about that. Okay, here we go. Now, can we find the waypoint? Now, this would be easy if I was using hired worker. Just line them up on the, right at the spot where the potato rows end and hit it from there. But can't use hired worker on these fields because obviously it's going to get stuck everywhere. So, all right, now let's see. Let's try to find this again. All right, first thing we got to do is turn the waypoints on. Oh God. I'm scared. I don't know what he's going to do. Let's go to nearest and see what he does. Go straight, go straight, go straight. Go straight. No! Here we go. This is what I was afraid of. Damn it. Because see what's going to end up happening here? All right, we got to lift all this stuff first of all. Because the waypoint is it's so far from the next one, you know what I mean? Because of the way this course is laid out. We're going to have to kind of plant this bit ourselves and then catch the waypoint on the other side. So, let's do that. And let's do that. Get a little cruise control. Oh, get off that stuff you've already done, BP. And then hopefully, we'll get past this crossing waypoint too. It's just the shape of this field and the headlands, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. Oh, all right, try that. Can you go from here? Yes, awesome, very good. Okay, so there you go. Oh, we're gonna check on Perry, right? Let's check on Perry, see how he's doing. All right, he's doing okay. Again, this is this field up here gets a little weird because of the shape of it, because the way that the waypoints are laid out. Oh, you are so gonna catch this tree, brother. You are so going to catch that tree. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Just miss it. Very good. Oh, you know what I don't have up? I don't have. There it is. So this field's, again, the soil moisture, right? But what I'm going to do is, as I've said, once I get a stage of growth, I'm going to water. I'm going to irrigate. So, but everything else is okay. PK's a little low, but I'll probably let that go. I'll water once we get a stage of growth and then spread some PK. The N is obviously fine. And then the weeds, the weeds will go away as we plant, so I'm not worried about that. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Again, I apologize for the stuttery, the stuttery stuff. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm doing the best I can with what I have. I want to send a massive shout out and thank you to all of you. Again, it always amazes me the level of support and loyalty and friendship you guys show me. Even with my crappy videos and sometimes the fumbliness and everything. I'm so glad you guys enjoy it because I enjoy it. And the fact that you guys like it so much makes me like it even more and makes me want to continue to do it. Again, always feel free to comment about anything. BP, you're screaming, or, the video didn't look great, or, here's a tip on how to fix this or do this, or here's how it would be done in the real life, in the real world, all that stuff. You guys know I love that. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thanks for coming. Thanks for subscribing. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Lots of stuff to watch on the channel, as you guys are aware. I try to put out a video every day. And if not every day, at least every 2 days. Make sure you click the like button as well. Make sure you check me out on all the social media links as well that are in the description of every video. Also, make sure to check out everybody on the Monkey Show approved list. They're all awesome YouTubers. They're all friends of mine. They all make great videos. And as always, guys, thanks so much for making me a part of your YouTube day. And this is the Bipolar Prophet saying, see you later.